The Martian wind howled like a living creature as I stepped out of the battered rover, the red dust whipping across the empty plains. My name is Commander Rylan Kress, survivor of the first human-alien confrontation on Mars. I had thought the worst was behind us, but tonight, Mars proved me wrong. We had come to inspect the ruins of Outpost Helios 9, which went silent 20 hours earlier. The moment my boots sank into the soft Martian soil, I felt something was wrong. The ground carried a faint vibration, almost like a heartbeat, steady and unnatural. Martian quake. My engineer, Lila, whispered over the comms. "No," I replied, my voice low. "This is something alive." As we moved toward the outpost, our helmet lights flickered. The structures were torn, open dot blown apart from the outside, but carved from within. Massive steel beams were bent like melted wax. The sand around the outpost was scarred with deep claw trails that led toward a series of caves east of the crater. I raised my pulse rifle. Yes. Open. We're not alone. Inside Helios 9, the horrors grew. The walls were stained with a strange, glistening black resin. Human footprints ended abruptly at the stains. No blood, no just disappearance. Lila ran a scanner over the resin. "Commander, this is organic, and it's not human." Before I could answer, the lights failed completely. The silence was absolute. Then, a sound. The gentle scrape of claws on metal. Something moved in the dark. Hust bane du es. We spun, weapons raised. For a long, heart-stopping moment, there was nothing. Then a pair of glowing blue eyes appeared above us, maybe 8 feet off the ground. And then a second pair. And a third. "Run," I yelled. We sprinted out of the outpost, the creatures dropping from the ceiling. Te were tal insectoid aliens, their exoskeletons shimmering like obsidian in the dim Martian night. They moved with impossible speed, crossing 10 meters in a single, fluid bound. Lila tripped her boot, catching on a piece of debris, and one of the aliens leapt toward her. I fired a full burst from my rifle. The plasma bolts ricocheted off its armor with a shower of sparks. It screeched a metallic, bone-chilling sound that vibrated in my chest, retreated only a single step before charging again. "That armor is adapting," Lila shouted, scrambling to her feet. "They're learning our weapons." We used the terrain to escape, diving into a narrow crevice between 2 massive rock formations. The aliens chased us until the gap became too thin for their large bodies to pass. They screeched in frustration and slammed their claws against the rock, shaking dust and pebbles loose from above. The sound was so intense, it made my skull tremble. We pushed deeper into the crevice, our only option forward. The narrow passage eventually opened into a vast underground cavern. It was dimly lit by faint, bioluminescent strands hanging from the ceiling, casting an airy, ethereal glow. The air shimmered with a strange energy, and then we saw them. Humans. They were floating, suspended inside cocoons, made of the same black resin we'd seen in the outpost. They were still alive. Their eyes, wide with terror, darted back and forth as the resin pulsed like a living organism, seemingly feeding on their life force. Lila covered her mouth, her gasp echoing in the cavern. "Oh my God." They weren't killed, they were taken. I approached one of the cocoons, the man inside, his face pale and gaunt, mouthed words to me, his voice lost to the resin. "Don't let them hatch," Hachi whispered, a cold dread washing over me. Then the cocoon twitched violently. A small, spider-like alien creature, pale and grotesque, pressed its face against the inside membrane, its tiny claws trying to push their way out. "No. No, no, no," Lila muttered, taking a step back. "They're turning survivors into incubators," I said, the grim reality hitting me like a physical blow. We didn't have time to think. A thunderous, guttural roar echoed through the cavern. The larger aliens had found another entrance. We had seconds. Cut them down. I ordered. We ignited our plasma torches and began slicing the cocoons open. The survivors collapsed to the cavern floor, gasping for air, their bodies covered in a slick, alien fluid. Some were too weak to stand. Others were already unconscious. "We can't save all of them," Lila said, her voice breaking. "We save who we can," I replied, my jaw set. The cavern shook as the aliens stormed and ate, maybe 9 of them. Their psychic shrieks rattled my teeth. The air pressure dropped as they advanced, their massive claws glowing with a menacing blue bioenergy. We formed a protective line in front of the survivors, weapons raised. "Protect the survivors. Hold the line." The battle was brutal. Plasma fire lit the cavern like lightning. The aliens moved with a terrifying grace, dodging shots, adapting to our tactics, changing their strategy in an instant. One of them leaped at me, its claws aimed directly at my throat. I dropped to the ground and fired upward, hitting a weak spot I noticed under its jaw. The creature collapsed, screeching until its body dissolved into shimmering dust. They bled light, not liquid, but for every one we managed to kill, 2 more seemed to emerge from the darkness. We were losing. We were being overwhelmed. Then Lila did something insane. She grabbed a fallen alien-s energy core, a pulsating orb that glowed like a dying star, and slammed it into the cavern wall. The core reacted violently with the rock, emitting a high-pitched whine. "Se escrimeth? Escrimeth." We grabbed the survivors who could still move and sprinted toward the tunnel we'd come from. Behind us, the core exploded in a blinding sphere of blue fire. The shockwave was immense, blasting us out of the cavern and onto the open Martian desert. The entire cavern collapsed in on itself, burying dozens of aliens under tons of rock and sand. For a long moment, I just lay on the red dust, staring up at the cold, distant stars. The thin atmosphere stung my throat, and every breath burned in my lungs. But we were alive. Lila coughed, pushing herself up. "Commander, this was just one hive. How many more do you think are under Mars?" I slowly got to my feet and looked at the horizon. In the distance, faint blue lights shimmered beneath the sand, hundreds of them, blinking and pulsing in the darkness, stretching as far as the eye could see. "Too many," I said, my voice barely a whisper. "And they're awake now." The war for Mars had officially begun, and humanity was already behind. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this story, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you don't miss what happens next.